This pandemic has changed the world. Margaret W. Wong and Associates, with over 40 years experience in U.S. immigration law, keeps working for you in the midst of adversity. Offices are in Cleveland, New York, Memphis, Atlanta, Columbus, Raleigh, North Carolina, Nashville, Chicago, and Minneapolis. Look after your loved ones and we'll take care of your immigration needs. Please call us at 216-279-3984. That's 216-279-3984.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us today. Thank you for joining us at this time of the day. Today it's Thursday, Thursday, May 6th, and we're about 3 days away from the Mother's Day. So for all the mothers in the world, congratulations. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being awesome. You are the most beautiful creation in this world. And honestly, if you did not exist, we would not exist. Human beings would not exist without mothers. So thank you for carrying us in your tummy or your womb. Also, thank you for feeding us, for cleaning us, for everything you did when we were just babies, and thank you for taking care of us even when we are grown. So, Miss Wong, you are a beautiful mom. You are a grandma. So, congratulations in advance for this Mother's Day.
Thank you, Mr. Juan. And let me introduce to our listeners to Mr. Juan. He's a wonderful musician, and I think he's getting a little bit emotional today because he just lost his father, and his mother was very, very sad. So thank you, Mr. Juan, for telling us about moms, because most women here, some of us chose not to be a mom, but a lot of us are moms. And I happen to love your mom. Mr. Juan is still single, but has a very steady girlfriend. So don't take him away from his girlfriend. And thank you, Mr. Juan.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yes, well, the more we grow, the more we give value to our parents. And that's very important because when we're kids, we're embarrassed that they give us a kiss or that they take us somewhere. But after a while, we feel so proud. We feel so excited about having you all. And that's very important. Giving value to our parents is very, very important. And the love of a father is important and it has a value, but the mother's love has a very different value, which is amazing. I don't know. I believe in God, and people say that the only love that is compared to God's love in my religion is the mother's love. So that's why they are, or you all are, so important. So thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for having us today. And well, this has been a very good week for you, for the United States, for the immigrants in this country. And I would like to start by mentioning what happened with the Supreme Court last week, that they had this decision that will let people revise some cases. So what can you tell us about this decision?
The decision on last Thursday morning is this Nitz Chavez. And for normally the general public or people who marry to get green card or perm labor cert to get green card or asylum to get green card, this doesn't mean too much. For the people like us who does a lot of deportation, removal, litigation, arriving aliens. So these are serious cases that we already have a final order of deportation from the immigration court and approved by the BIA, and even worse, approved by the circuit courts. For example, where I live, which is Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, Michigan, the 4 states in 6th Circuit. So Nitz Chavez in U.S. Supreme Court last Thursday actually override our 6th Circuit, which is really not good case law. It says that everything should be listed on one piece of paper, on a piece of paper, numeral A. What does that mean? A means that a piece of paper. So on the notice to appear that happened after April of 97, effective in October, August of 96, whenever it's a charging document, a notice to appear at NTA, if you look at the lower left-hand corner of the piece of paper, there's normally a date and time on it that when you have to go to court. If that date is not, like sometimes they'll say to be scheduled, to be notified, or they're blank, you could actually either reopen the deportation case or terminate the case, or even come up with some innovative argument. So this is really the second step of, remember we talked about PERA, that started in 2018, 2017, 2019, that talked about PERA started the movement that immigration is serious. It's a part of Homeland Security. You couldn't just give people multiple documents, like you tell them date and time, and by then, we are new in this country, we moved, and you give us another notice of hearing, and of course we didn't know, we didn't show up, now you ordered me deported. So this Nitz Chavez is a very serious case. I've won 3 cases since then because I got a remand and cert grant. But it's not about me or my law firm. It's about you all who may or may not have deportation, who may or may not have NTA issued but never filed with court, or who may or may not have NTA issued is pending in court. That's why this week, today is Thursday, the last 3 days, and also Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was in our local court in Cleveland. Since I'm stuck in Cleveland, I couldn't travel anymore. I've been in court to watch how judges, we are all struggling with this new case because it is a new case. So we are learning how to work around it and stuff like that. But congratulations, it's the start of a new era. It's huge.
Yeah, that's true. And well, we have a lot of people calling and asking questions about yeah, I did the same, don't worry. So this decision, a lot of people have been calling and asking this question. If I have a removal order from 2007 or 2010, can I try to reopen my case? Will the court let me reopen my case?
That's a very good question. So you at least understand Nitz Chavez. Even a lot of us lawyers are struggling with it because some of us don't understand it. So the answer is check. Number one, when did you come to America? If you came to America after April of 97 and you were put into removal proceeding or deportation proceeding after 97, 98, you should have an NTA. You should not have an OSC. The second issue is always check your NTA, because that's what we are doing in this office now. We are checking all your FOIAs, we're checking all your cases and see if either we have won your case. If you have won, no problem. If we've lost your case, then we need to look at it, go back to the NTA and see any way we can reopen. It's not just to reopen. Then what's the end goal? The end goal is not just to reopen. Of course, it's important to reopen. That means you have no deportation. And I wish this case came down under the Trump era, because Trump was deporting everybody, no priority. Everybody get deported if they have deportation. Under Biden, as you read this morning in the news, April is the lowest deportation or removal month in the past, like quite a few years. So first look at your date of entry. When did you come? Next thing is do not forget Mendez Rojas. Remember I talked about the other case where if you come in at a time, if you were stopped at the border within 48 hours or volunteered at the line, and if the NTA was also issued after June 30th, of 2021, actually maybe 2020, all these new laws. So also don't forget about that case. So on that, yes, if you go on your NTA, there's no date and time. You need to go back to history and say, do I want to reopen it? Because you remember, if you reopen the case, they put you back in removal proceedings, but at least maybe there's a way to get you a work permit. So don't just think, can I reopen? Think, after I reopen, or if I can reopen, what's my second goal? You see, immigration is really a lot of fun. It's not just, oh, I want to stay here, I want to be a multimillionaire, I want to be a citizen of America. It's not that simple. It's really very complicated, and it's nuanced. When I was still going to law school, or years after I finished law school, when I was teaching in law school, we always thought bankruptcy law is tough because by then the big law firms in New York, Wachtell, those guys are doing big type, serious bankruptcy. But then the tax law is always tough because they represent rich people, and rich people have money to pay legal fees. And then criminal law became tough, Miranda warnings. So, but now is immigration. Immigration law is the hardest law to practice. And more it's become very nuanced. All these new laws, old laws, how do you combine this? What's the point? Do I want to terminate? Because you have to remember, if you terminate a case, you can't get a work permit. And that's my struggle, because a lot of us need that work permit to get a driver's license, but the social always remains with you, but the work permit. So you also have to look at, when does your work permit expire? But if you don't want to terminate, what would the judge do? Because the judge doesn't want to let you win or lose the case. Now the government appeal, or we appeal and say, hey, you never have jurisdiction to start. I hope I don't talk too much, but this is this is huge. We're all studying it. We're having fun with it. And even the immigration judges, they're like, oh, do you want to waive? So it's really good. It's a good day. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And you don't forget that Ms. Wong has offices in 9 cities of the United States, in Atlanta, Chicago, Columbus, Cleveland, in Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. That is the phone number that she can use, that you can use to talk to Ms. Wong. 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Ms. Wong, for a person who entered 5 years ago, filed for asylum 3 years or about 2 years ago, and this person is from El Salvador, entered illegally or without inspection, and this person was told by her attorney that they had to wait in order to file for the working authorization. They filed 2 years ago. They went to do the biometrics, and they already received their receipt notice and fingerprint notice, but the attorney has not filed the work permit. Why could be this?
Okay, because any asylum filed after March of 2020, especially after August of 2020, those are the two big law change under Trump. You have to wait for 1 year. But this kid came illegally and without inspection. So sometimes all people tell me without inspection, but it doesn't mean so let's assume I crossed the border. I was never stopped, I never volunteered, but within 48 hours on the roadblock in Texas, because they have a lot of roadblocks, I was stopped within 48 hours. So that's considered Mendez Rojas, which means that you can still argue that because NTA is absolutely after June 30th of 2020 or 2019, 2020, because he filed asylum 3 years ago. So if the NTA was issued after that, if he was stopped, he could have argued the 1 year stop rule, number one. So he should have gotten a work permit. Number two, if his NTA have no date and time, I would try to get the work permit first, and then maybe do a motion to terminate and maybe refile asylum. I would like to look at that case and see how we should do it. But I'm surprised it's more than 2 years ago. He should be able to get asylum because they also stopped the clock. In February or March of 2020, there's no more clock. So you know how in the olden days, I always check the clock. Anything over 180 days on the clock, you can file for work permit. A lot of times, because in the olden, oh my gosh, it's not even olden days. That's more than last year. That's what I'm also learning. More than a year ago, if you go to court, with any lawyers, we always have to look at the clock, because if we ask for postponement, the clock stops. If the court asks for postponement, the clock does not stop. But if the court have no translator, the clock should not stop. But sometimes the judges or the immigration court plays games, especially in those days in Memphis. Now Memphis is closed. So they would say, oh, clock stop, clock stop. Because they always say we postponed, but we didn't. You have no translator. Why blame us? So that's why you need to look at the case. But I really think he should be able to get a work permit, listening to this fact. And the question is, should we want to file terminate, because then he cannot get a work permit after that? But maybe we can do a new file, because Mendez has it at play. So you need to worry about PRX, there's no more. You need to worry about Third Circuit. Yesterday and this morning, Third Circuit, which is New Jersey. Oh, by the way, I forgot that. Another exciting news. New Jersey, people with no work permits could start getting driver's license in May. They're following New York. And it could be also Chris, who was the old governor, and now New Jersey is coming back. So you don't need a work permit to file for a driver's license in New Jersey, which is Third Circuit. This morning or yesterday, Third Circuit, actually it's probably the day before yesterday or yesterday, came up with a decision saying that you can admin close cases. That means that if
That's
BIA
awesome.
denied your case, before they deny, BIA can actually admin close. That means you can get protect work permit. See, termination, no more work permit. Admin close, you protect work permit.
That's good.
So
That's
so
very
now
good.
we have to go through our Third Circuit, because New York is second, and then you have Chicago, but Chicago Posner, my favorite judge, retired. So that's another era. So you really have to follow where the state, and it's really what we do is really a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true, Ms. Wong, and it's exciting because the more we learn, the more we can fight for the rights of people and help them get an immigration relief. So the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984, and Ms. Wong will answer your questions, and we are talking with you, receiving your questions completely free, absolutely free right now while we are live. So this next question is saying, my sister came 2 years ago when she was 14. Now she is 16, and we want to know if she can apply for word of court. Our mom is in Honduras, and our father passed away. So what can we do?
That's very interesting. Did she say where she lives? What state?
I assume it's
No, it's
in
okay.
Georgia.
Okay, Georgia. Yes, actually, this is an interesting case. I don't know if your mom and dad married. Abandonment by death is not really abandonment. I've done some research. In Ninth Circuit, there's a leading case on word of court. Ninth Circuit is California, Alaska, Seattle, Washington. They have a leading case on word of court saying that if you have not communicated with your father or mother, and then they passed away, as long as you did not communicate with them, you did not live with them, it's a form of abandonment. That's only a California case, a Ninth Circuit case. I have not found any other cases in any other circuit. But the good news about your case is your mom is also not here. So if we can argue your mom neglected, abused, or abandoned you, and then your father in the meantime died, you have no parents here. But in Franklin County, Ohio, if they're married, but the mom is still not here, it's okay. Because Franklin County, Ohio, they would not approve if your parent died and you're living with your parent in America, but you're not even with the parent. Yes, you can do word of court in Atlanta. You should. But make sure you prove when did your father die, did your mother marry the father, but maybe call our Atlanta office. They're very good at this because we do quite a lot of word of court cases.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. This is a very interesting case, and many people don't know about this, and they maybe they miss this opportunity because they just don't know. So please give us a call, 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. So this person is asking, I came through the border. I was stopped by the at the border. They paroled me in, and they said that I had to file. I mean, they said that I was going to be here and I had to go to court when they noticed me or notified me that I had to go to court. But my question is now I received a letter saying something about a 1 year
1 year,
limit.
yeah.
I never filed asylum. What is this about?
The 1 year, this is so stupid. See, immigration is wasting money and time. Instead of really adjudicating cases, figuring out how to get work permit, how not to say no to work permit, they're sending out this 1 year rule. We're getting a lot of these letters and we have to go check the file. It's not so much a waste of time, but it's really very much, that's a Mendez Rojas case. Remember, I keep talking about Mendez Rojas. Mendez Rojas really says that if you were within 48 hours, either paroled or entered or were stopped. In this case, she was paroled, which means that she was stopped within 48 hours. Parole means that you were stopped. You probably have a very good story at the border, or you were coming in with a child, then you're paroled. You should have filed for a work permit because parolee can get a work permit for that 3 months or that 1 year. Number one, and you didn't do it. Number two, if you had filed the 589, the asylum within the period, because sometimes it give you 2 months, sometimes give you 3 months, sometimes give you 2 years, sometimes give you 1 year, the parole time. If you had filed asylum within that time, it's considered you were never in out of status because parole is a status. If you just come and you stopped at the border, they let you through, you have no status. You're illegal, and you're actually illegal entry, no status, right? Now you have a parolee status, and depends on the stamp. If you're married an American citizen, you can actually directly adjust because parolee can adjust, but depends on what they say because there are different types of parole. There's a docket parole. It gets complicated, but that's okay. It's like the movie is complicated, but for now you're parole, I presume, is more than a year. You didn't file. That letter says that you can, because you came in, NTA issued after June of 20, before June 30th, because I always get messed up because then you also have PRA. June 30th of 2020, then, or 21 or whatever, then you can file parole and it's considered within a year because you were never advised of the rights that you should file within a year. Your thing is, number one, did your NTA have date and time? I presume no, because then you would have gone to court. You have Mendez. Should we use Mendez to get you that work permit? Or should we terminate? So you really have no more case pending, because my suspicion is it'll take immigration a long time to re-NTA you. But then if you don't have that NTA, you cannot get a work permit. On the other hand, if you're American-born kids, you can also wait for 10 years and do a 42B 10-year cancellation. That's a 1 year work permit. So that's a lot of ways to consider the case. I've some clients who say, I don't really care. I just want my work permit. I've some clients who say, please, 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 I just don't want deportation. I don't want to go to court. I just started my new business. I need all the money I can get, and I don't need a work permit. I don't need a driver's license because I live in New York, so why do I need a work permit? So each family is very different.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this advice. And don't forget that Ms. Wong has offices in 9 cities of the United States, in Atlanta, Chicago, Columbus, Cleveland, Memphis, Minneapolis, Nashville, New York, and Raleigh, North Carolina. And the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. This next question is, I became U.S. citizen in January, and at the same time, my mom living in Honduras got diagnosed with cancer stage 4. I know if I sponsor her, she may not get her papers on time, and her tourist visa was denied a couple of years ago. What should we do?
Number one, get a hospital to admit her. The problem is how we're going to pay for all these extreme expenses. But if there's a way to pay for this, number one. Number two is if a hospital is interested in a trial diagnosis or something, but you have to send them all the copies, of the x-rays and stuff. Then the hospital can give you to pass to her invitation letter, and that's what we call a medical tourist visa. That means some doctors is interested in reviewing her situation for her to come to be checked out, especially in a trial, because it's a very interesting cancer. Because a lot of times being foreign people, there's different cell development and stuff like that's one way to do it, what we call a medical tourist visa. Number two way is actually what we call humanitarian parole. That's you just have to go to the USDOS, United States Department of State.gov. Now, granted, U.S. Department of State is an executive branch. And I really think with Biden coming in, you may have a chance, and you don't need a lawyer for that, all right, for both of this. Already your mom is sick. Why do you want a lawyer? So you need to fill out the form on this, also I-131. On the form, they tell you what you need, collect all the medicals, and to convince the U.S. Department of State to give you a humanitarian visa, your mom a humanitarian, to come to America to be treated. The biggest issue on these two cases is America doesn't want our hospital to be stuck with charitable care. So as long as there's a way that you can pay for this or find someone to help you pay for it or something, and depends on the type of cancer. Like there was a time about 10, 20 years ago, a lot of children, they have that lips. So people would come for medical care and stuff like that. But these are the two kinds of visas you can think of. In the meantime, do not give up hope on filing the I-130. We have cases that's approved in 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. Instead of under the previous administration, it takes like 1.5 years. And also the virus slowed things down. I would still file the I-130. I think you'll get her here if you are lucky, and don't use a lawyer, because these are cases not that hard. It's just knowing the way and Google it and stuff like that. So the third way is file the I-130. On the back, on the last third page, it's about a 13-page paper. It's very easy. Don't let those pages bother you. At the back, put, if I remember, you're from Honduras. So also, it doesn't hurt to get the medical diagnosis and send it to the American doctor and see if they're interested in helping her. It doesn't also hurt. I would not send it with the I-130, because you don't want to, then they're going to start asking you how you're going to pay for this, because when she comes, when you do the 864, when you do the affidavit of support, even though the public charge of 944 is gone, you still need to sign that their support. If they know she's that sick, they're going to say, even the flight would cost you more money because you need that air thing, because I've done all these cases. They're tough because they don't want American hospitals to be stuck with care that they cannot decline because it's charitable. I don't think you have a problem. Do the medical tourist visa. It doesn't matter if it's approved. If it's approved, she comes. If it's denied, concurrently do the humanitarian parole, because it does take 3.5 to 6 months. In the meantime, file the I-130 tonight. I think you can e-file I-130, and on the back, don't ask for expedite, because being ill, I-130 department don't care. Each department is different, all right?
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. This is awesome information. And the phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. So this person is asking here, I entered at the age of 15. I was born in September 30th, 1981. When I entered, I had a newborn baby that now is he's DACA holder, because I had him in Mexico and he got DACA. I tried to do my DACA because I was not married and I was under 16 when I had my baby, and I was already here in the United States. But I would like to know if I could apply. I tried applying a long time ago, but my attorney didn't follow up with the case, and he said that because I was born in 1981, I couldn't apply for DACA, but I was born on September 30th, 1981. Can I do it?
Yes, you could do it as long as you're born after June 15th of 1981, and as long as you came to America, have proof. My promise, a lot of kids, because they came at 13, 14, they never went to school, or if they registered for schools 1 year later, they live in a trailer park with some uncles. It's hard to prove in your case because the baby already got it, so you know that you were here. I mean, otherwise, who brought the baby? I also wonder if you unaccompanied minor, go back to your old paperwork. That's too old now. The baby's already older. It must be over 15, 16, otherwise he could not have gotten DACA. So I would go back to the old paperwork because I presume we were not stopped. And review if you were stopped, review your NTA, but definitely file DACA. It's June 15th. And if you need to prove it, but it's easy because with the baby here, you have shots, you have, you probably gotten some public charge issue like Medicaid, Medicare, WIC. Get that because it's not going to hurt. They're not supposed to collaterally look at your other paperwork and now say, oh, you violated a crime or something, And if you have filed tax return, that'll be awesome. And whoever you live with, whoever you work with, have them draft letters. I think you can do it. I know you can do it. If the only reason you couldn't do it is because of 81, the date of birth.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And she actually says that she was born September 30th. So she might be able to apply for DACA. So please just call Ms. Wong, 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. And this question says, I am from Honduras, but I became U.S. citizen 2 years ago. I want to bring my mom, but she doesn't want to live here. What do you recommend, a tourist visa or maybe file a family petition?
Okay, let me explain to you this issue. Sometimes it's not fair. I presume she must be in the maybe 50s, 60s. Apply for it. On the form, they'll ask, do you have any immediate relatives or relatives living in America? She'll have to say yes, because you're American citizen, you're here. Another way people do it is you fly back to Honduras, because the question is, anybody in America, but at that time of filing, you were in Honduras, you were not here. That's how I've seen other people succeed. I would file it and on there say, my daughter never applied for me, and I have no interest in immigrating. It's true, because you have been a citizen for a few years and you never filed. Because at the back of the form, they also ask, have any filed a visa petition for you? The answer is no, because you didn't do it, but add my daughter's a citizen, she never filed. They'll give you stronger credence. Have you ever filed a PERM or labor certificate approval? The answer is no. Do you intend to go to America to study? No, because I'm too old for that. Do you intend to go to America to work? No, because my daughter would give me money. You may want to apply also with a book. I know it sounds really stupid. With an airline ticket, you can always cancel it if it's denied. Maybe you can book a round trip ticket and show money in bank, because only the rich people get tourist visa. Poor people, I mean, why would people like you and I who work every day get a tourist visa to go to America? I mean, I don't have time, because if a flight costs $600-700. So the richer you are, the easier it is to go to America. So make sure you have money in the bank, but tell them the truth, because I have cases, especially in high fraud countries. They'll say, oh, I'm working, and also show you have a job. So for example, you have a job, sometimes they'll use a cell phone. They say, give me a cell phone. You give it to them. They say, what's your boss's name and number? Of course, your boss's name should be in there. They'll type it. And then that's not your boss, that's your boyfriend or something. That's not good. So these are things that I would do to get a tourist visa. But if not, file the I-130, because I really think with Biden, with the virus leasing, she should be able to come in 9 months, 1.5 years. I know she doesn't want to come and live forever, but it doesn't hurt to file the I-130. Otherwise, she won't come, and then poor mom,
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for these answers, and congratulations for all the good news that we had this week. We know about a very huge victory which the law firm had this week, and congratulations, Ms. Wong, for leading this awesome team that is even going to the Supreme Court. And who could think that a one-woman office with one desk and no secretary could get this far? So those are the achievements that we have in life, and that are a legacy for the people that are behind us. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for having us today, and see you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have time for one more question?
Yes, I do.
Okay, this is a long question. My husband is LPR, and he came back here in Hong Kong. with 96 years old grandma who is U.S. citizen a month before COVID-19 has happened. For the safety and health, we decided to keep his grandma here. Therefore, my husband doesn't travel much back to the States because he doesn't want to take any risk and carry the virus from traveling on flights and pass it to his grandma. However, my two children and I are still in the process of F2A application. Does it affect our application if he doesn't travel?
That's a very good question. I came from Hong Kong, so it's wonderful. Most of us that came, the newer Hong Kong people, because it is easier. It's easier to make money. It's easier to live because America is hard for people who don't speak English. So it's happening. In this case, the grandma is a citizen. Grandma probably got the mother, the son, the green card, and now the son is filing for the spouse and the two children. Because most Hong Kong people didn't want to come, they were taking their time. And that's what Biden wants to change. Biden wants to make family 2A cases, just like, so family 2A are spouses of green card holders, immediate relatives, family members of citizens, all right? In this case, he never became a citizen for whatever reason, because Hong Kong went back to China. It's very difficult to travel back and forth between China and America when you become an American citizen. So I presume that's one of the reasons. So it should not affect him, but I really want him to come back once every 6 months. And once he come back, even when he was in Guam, because Guam and Hawaii are very close to Hong Kong. That's why people from Hong Kong nowadays prefer to immigrate to New Zealand, Australia, because it's a very fast flight than coming to America, especially with the East Coast. So what I want you to do, and listen to me because I am from Hong Kong, I understand where you are. So I would go ahead and have the husband come back immediately, because it seemed like you already missed the 1 year. You are lucky because China, Delta and United are not letting Chinese from China get on flights if they did not come back in 6 months or 1 year, but you're from Hong Kong. You also need to check the virus thing, because as long as your husband did not go to China, Hong Kong people, I don't even think you need 14-day shelter, but check the virus regularly. Definitely come back as soon as possible. Once he comes back the same night, if not, call my law firm, because we do a lot of this. Because when you file a re-entry permit, the husband has to be in America. Does not have to be in New York or Chicago. You can even be in Hawaii, in Guam, in Los Angeles, San Francisco. I would not land in Los Angeles because that's a very tough airport. I would land in either Seattle or San Francisco because they really understand people like us. And then once they land, apply for the re-entry permit, maybe fly back, and then come back for the fingerprint. Because fingerprint nowadays under the virus is also like maybe taking 2 or 3 months, and you don't have time. I presume if your husband also have a job there. So hurry up and come back if you can get on flight. The problem is buying the ticket is not a problem. But now there's only, I think, 2 flights each week now from China and America. But check, because you're from Hong Kong. You're not from China yet. So hurry up and come back. Leave the grandmother there, because grandmother is citizen anyway. You need to come back to protect your wife and children. So one day when the wife and children become green card, they become citizen, you can even relinquish, because then the children or the wife can sponsor you because of tax return issue. We have a lot of people from Hong Kong because it's worldwide tax. So they couldn't afford to, because even though you live in America only for 5 days a year, you have to pay worldwide tax in America. So that's why a lot of L1, E2s, green card holders, or even citizens, they don't want to be citizens of America. There's a tax issue.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And this last question, EB3 India, any predictions for fiscal year 2022? My priority day is December 2016.
No prediction, and good luck. If I were you, I would file, depends on how old you are. I also file EB2. My prediction, EB2 will be a lot, maybe going back up, because there was a time everybody was doing EB2, now it became EB3. And I would even start publishing some articles if you have a master's degree, and maybe push yourself to extraordinary. I think under Biden, EB1 will be maybe a little bit easier than under Trump. That I'm really sorry about India, but I really think Biden will open this up. And make sure somehow, since you already have an EB3, at least your 6-year H1 is not in jeopardy. And make sure your wife get on H4, so at least she doesn't use up her H1. Worst comes to worst, one day, if H4 have no more work, and good news this morning, I found out H4 does not no more need work fingerprints. So spouses don't need fingerprints now if you want to apply for anything for spouses for H1s and E2s and stuff like that. So good news for you. Okay. But definitely work the wife and husband's case, because India EB3 is awesome people. You are awesome. And congratulations.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And see you next time. Thank you for all you do for our audience, for all the answers and all you do for us in this awesome team and the information that we give to people. And well, we keep receiving questions, but we know you have to go, and we will have answers for next week. So please, next week, join us at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 11:30 a.m. in Central Time, and you will be able to ask all your questions to Ms. Margaret W. Wong, who has over 40 years of experience. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to call 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984, and talk to Ms. Wong, because she is the one who knows about immigration. See you next time. Take care, and please stay safe. The virus is still there, and if you have not got the vaccine, please be careful, because it's all over the place. Take care and see you next time.
This pandemic has changed the world. Margaret W. Wong and Associates, with over 40 years experience in U.S. immigration law, keeps working for you in the midst of adversity. Offices are in Cleveland, New York, Memphis, Atlanta, Columbus, Raleigh, North Carolina, Nashville, Chicago, and Minneapolis. Look after your loved ones, and we'll take care of your immigration needs. Please call us at 216-279-3984. That's 216-279-3984.